Part 2 of how my best friend got so weirdly obsessed with me that she plotted to kill my boyfriend. So continuing on with the story, we heard a knock at the door and it ended up being her. And she said, "Oh, I'm just coming by to check on you and make sure you're okay." Mind you, we were at his house. And he looks at me like, what is she doing here? So I asked her to leave, and then she ends up getting so mad at me just because I asked her to give us alone time. So the night goes on, and then when I get home, she's in my room. At this time, my whole entire family was out of town, and I was the only one home. So I was like, hey. It was literally just like a normal night, and then I go to shower, and when I get back out of the shower, she's gone. And then my boyfriend calls me, and he goes, "Why is Maddie here?" She had like this black mask on, but she's stupid enough to not realize that we know it's her. And I mean, we're being real here. She was my best friend at the time, so of course he's not going to call the police on her. But she had a knife in her hand, and he opens the door and he like pins her against the wall and then calls 911, I guess. And then to sum it up, when they get there, she tells them everything that she was going to do, and then they put her in a mental hospital. But she said that she was going to murder everybody that gets close to her. Story time of how my best friend got so weirdly obsessed with me that she even plotted to kill my boyfriend. So at the time, me and this girl, let's just call her Olivia, had only been friends for about 2 years. I mean, we really did everything together. We were with each other 24/7, and I mean, we were pretty good friends. But the only thing about our friendship is she did not like when I had other friends. I mean, she didn't have any other friends herself, but literally she would joke around about strangling my other friends because she didn't like when I gave my attention to anyone else. But honestly, I just thought of it as a joke. And then I started dating this guy, let's just name him Jacob. He was probably the sweetest guy I had ever met, and he was a real simp for me. So we started dating, and about 4 or 5 months go by, and he started getting these texts from a random number. And it would always be cringy things like "leave her or you die," "get away from her," and like stupid cringy threats. Then one night, me and him were just hanging out. Then he gets a text with his exact address saying he had till tonight to leave me or he wouldn't see another day. Then we hear a knock at the door. I'm running out of time, like for part 2.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Cleaning with Killers. Today we're going to try out this cool little brush I've bought to clean the stairs, so yeah, we'll see how it goes. And while I do this, I'm going to tell you the story of Michael Peterson, who's also known as the Staircase Killer. So Michael Peterson was born near Nashville, Tennessee in 1943. And for the first time, nothing crazy actually happened during his childhood. So he graduated from university with a bachelor's degree in political science. And while he was at uni, he was also the president of a fraternity and the editor of the Daily Student newspaper. After graduating uni, Michael took a job in the US Department of Defense. In the same year, he married Patricia Sue, who was an elementary school teacher, and they went on to have 2 children called Clayton and Todd. Then in 1968, Michael enlists in the US Marine Corps and he serves in the Vietnam War. 3 years later, in 1971, Michael receives an honourable discharge with the rank of captain after a car accident left him with a permanent disability. So Michael and Patricia are living in Germany, and they've befriended Elizabeth and George Ratcliffe and their 2 children.
My cousin Millie is 30 years old and is an ER nurse. Her birthday was a few days ago, and we planned a birthday prank, which was leaving a fake snake on her cake. All fun and games because we do this every year to every family member. Well, apparently this year Millie didn't want it, so she was pretty pissed at the fact that we didn't. Now, a few days ago while I was in school, I got a call from Millie during lunch. I thought it would be her saying she's picking me up, but it wasn't. She proceeded to tell me that my mother had passed away in a car accident. My heart dropped and I felt like puking. My mother and I don't have the best relationship, but I still love her. Millie began to tell me the details of the death and what exactly happened, to the point I hung up on her and called my mother. My mom, who was supposedly at work as a nurse, didn't pick up, and I ended up running to the bathroom. I called my dad, bawling my eyes out and telling him what happened. He didn't understand what I was talking about because he called my mom right before I called. He made me explain everything, and understandably he was pissed. He'd picked me up from school and called my mom in the car just to prove that she was alive and okay. That night, my aunt, who's not Millie's mom, called a meeting to her house and we all talked it out. They were all pretty much disgusted with Millie as she tried to justify her.
What is the worst interaction with another human you've had in 2020? I'll fucking go first. I asked a girl out on a date, picked her up, drove her to the fucking restaurant. Right when we parked, she tells me, "I don't think I really want this to be a date." What? I had no fucking idea what I should do. So I just fucking go into the restaurant with her. We sit there like we're strangers the entire time. I had just blown up a little bit on TikTok. I made a fucking video about the situation and I asked everyone on TikTok what the fuck I should do. As I'm sitting at fucking dinner, my fucking phone just goes crazy. Fucking video goes viral. I'm reading the comments at dinner, laughing my fucking ass off. I get up to go to the bathroom and my fucking waitress stops me and she says, "I just got off my fucking break. I just saw your fucking TikTok." She was like, I fucking got this. When I sit down, she comes over. She acts like I'm a fucking celebrity.
Part 2 about how I slept with my teacher and got pregnant. So like I said, I got tired of putting effort in to get my grade up, so I let him hit, and then I was going over his house after school. Well, later on at the end of the year, I find out that I'm pregnant. And because I was 18, I really didn't have to care about what my parents thought. So I told him, and surprisingly, this man was on board with it. He was like, oh my god, like, let's do this. I'm so happy. And I was like, what the fuck? Well, his ex-girlfriend found out, so she went and told the school. He got fired. And 3 years later, we're still together raising our child. Story time about how I slept with my teacher and got pregnant. Little background information, I was 18 and in 12th grade. I had always had trouble in school, especially history class. And I had always had tutors and everything like that. And eventually I just got tired of trying to get my grade up because I realized that it was never going to happen. So my teacher was 27 years old. We're going to call him Mike. And Mike had a girlfriend. He had been staying after school helping me like every single day. From like 3 o'clock till 5 o'clock. Well, the one day I had this outfit on that maybe wasn't that appropriate. And I was being super flirty with him the whole time. To be honest, I just didn't want to put in the effort to get up my grades. And then 10 minutes later, he started getting handsy. And I told him that if he wanted to do anything, he had to get my grade up for me. So he did just that. Well, for the next couple of months, I would go over to his house to study, like for part 2.